Hey, this is Wes Bailey at Wes Bailey Attorney at Law. Once again, we're getting back into successions. This is a really good area for people who are having some trouble dealing with the death of a loved one, a family member, someone that they know, and maybe they've left you something. Maybe they left you something in a will, or maybe it's your mother, father, and it's just sprung upon you, and you have to deal with it. Right now in Louisiana, we're dealing with property taxes. Taxes are coming out. People are having to pay it. And if you have a family member that recently passed and you haven't done a succession, I'm going to bring up a good point. You probably didn't get that notice for that property because it went to that house. So make sure you check your property taxes, just to kind of give you an FYI. But what I want to talk to you about is something that's pretty easy, is small successions. Small successions in Louisiana are any successions below the value of $125,000. Those are very quick. Those are very easy to do, and those can kind of transfer over what you might need or have that's below that. You don't have to go through the whole rigmarole of the filing with the clerk. You can do it notarially. You can do it with a notary. It's very easy and it's very simple, and a lawyer can do it for you very quickly and really, really cheap. So it's not going to break the bank. You might have heard some horror stories about successions, and I get that because it's out there. So we want to make sure you know, number one, you can do a small succession if the value of your estate, and that's the property of the deceased party, is below $125,000. Let's see if there's anything else so we can kind of talk about. We have some other issues that we could talk about. Maybe if you have bigger successions, of course, over $125,000, you're definitely going to need a judge and to file that and get that before a judge and get a judge's signature. What happens in successions that people really don't know is administrations of successions. So if you have a succession that may have some debt in it, it may have some property that needs to be sold to satisfy that debt, hey, that succession definitely needs an administration. So what is an administration? It's when someone is appointed to be an administrator, an executor, something to that effect. And I can get into it a little bit more, but this is just education. This is just educating you. That person is appointed. The court appoints that person. The court gives those people the paperwork to be able to deal with it. And that person can take that paperwork from the court and go and administer that paperwork and administer those problems. So you have, for example, I've had clients that had deep credit card debt, deep pay loan debt, and they had left their family a house that, paid off. And those creditors are going to come and try to seize that asset to satisfy the debt. They can do that. So what do? You appoint an administrator or somebody that can be able to kind of facilitate that if you know about that. Some people don't tell you. They pass away. You don't even know. And those creditors will let you know. So that's the kind of stuff that a lawyer is gonna be able to tell you, because we've dealt with it in experience. I mean, there's no worse feeling than a gotcha moment when someone's loved one's passed away and their attorney gets a call from a creditor saying, hey, such and such died. They had a $30,000 debt, and the wife didn't know. The kids didn't know. Nobody knew. And they're looking to get satisfied on that loan. That's a tough day for a mom, a grieving spouse, a grieving daughter, a son. There's a lot of frustration. So what you want to do is be able to have an attorney that can be able to help you kind of maneuver those issues, especially in Louisiana, where our law is very unique. Our law is very, I say the unique is a very kind word some days. So if you have questions like that, always like our YouTube channel, because we're always talking about different things like that. Like our Facebook, you can always give us a call, 337-404-7716. Everything in Louisiana is we're barred in Louisiana. So this is stuff that we do. Now, getting back into the succession stuff, if you're dealing with a succession, make sure that you are on the same page. Are you on the same page with your mom? You're on the same page with your family. If you're not, that's going to tell you right from the get go whether or not you're going to have real deal litigation. And what I say that is most people think these are my family members. This is not going to be a problem. We're going to get it all worked out. No big deal. I hate to tell you, if this is the first time you're hearing this, that's not true. That's not going to be true. When someone passes away, there's a Netflix show called the Knives Out or something like that. The knives come out. They come out, and I don't like it, but they do. And in any kind of succession work I've done, the issue of whether or not you're going to litigate it is always on my mind, always on my thoughts, because someone might think they got slighted, or they think that brother, sister, cousin, mama, whoever is trying to get them on the back end. It's not true. I mean, it's sometimes it is true, but I mean, if you have all the paperwork in order, it's very hard to show that someone is trying to get one over on you. Now, if you have the proof, that's a whole different matter. Do you have the signatures? Do you have the lack of signatures? Do you have the lack of information? Louisiana has some very particular laws. That's why I say whenever you get to this point, get an attorney, because the issue is like Louisiana is very specific about how to deal with fraudulent wills, how to deal with fraudulent donations, how to deal with these things. And you have got to center yourself in with someone who knows the evidence and knows that ahead of time. So it's not just some sort of gotcha moment like you're on Perry Mason or some lawyer movie. It doesn't happen that way. You've got to get in there and really study the evidence and study the validity of the evidence and how you're going to present that to the court as well. So a lot of successions that are contested, they take a long time. They're dealing with massive amounts of money, probably. Sometimes they're not. I don't know why people litigate issues that are probably less than the attorney's fees they pay, but they do that. At our office, we always let you know the value of the attorney's fees versus the value of what you're going for. Sometimes you chase good money going after bad, so it's about what it's worth. But in a succession, you want to make sure that if you're going to go into heavy litigation, especially against your family, where it's going to tear apart your emotional and familial bonds, that it's worth it. So you got to ask those questions to yourself. So we deal with that a lot. We have dealt with that a lot. Why does that all matter? Why does anybody go to litigation, or why does anybody do a succession? Well, the law basically says you have to. I mean, so you have to do a succession to transfer the property from one person to the other. A succession does that. A succession is basically, after death, it's the vehicle of getting those assets or those things to the next person. Why do you want to do that again? It's because later on down the road, it takes care of that for your heirs and your children, and your children's children, so they don't have to go through that as well, because they're going to have to hire someone. So you're knocking that out for them. You're protecting their future. You're protecting them. A lot of different things that I call vehicles to kind of protect assets, like wills or trust, are really, really useful because they clarify those things ahead of time. So a little bit of money and a little bit of planning goes a long way whenever you've passed on, because I don't care how strong you are, you're not going to be able to come back and let these people know. It's not going to happen. So I've yet to have a ghost appear in my office to tell me how they want to litigate or how they want to dispose of their property to their heirs. Doesn't happen. Kind of looking at different things that I have here, the best you can have is a family that agrees and a family that works together to dispense with uh, their deceased mother, father's estate and be able to work with it. Because in the end, in a succession, I'll always say, hey, I'll take less money for a family that's agreeing in legal fees than a family that's going to fight. Because in the end, the family is the most important thing. So anytime we can do that, anytime we can facilitate that, anytime we can help you in that kind of venture, we will do that. If you have a deeper, longer discussion that you need, call us. We'd love to explain things and talk to you. 337-404-7716. Wes Bailey. Always say less. Call Wes. Going to help you out in the long run. We appreciate you. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Facebook, all those good things. We're all over. So we want to make sure we get this information out because it's educational. Helps you out. Might help you out down the road. Or might help your friends.